Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be sitting down and showing you all of the palettes in my collection that have magnetic pans. I mentioned in another video somewhere, I think it was probably in my DIY palette video, I can't quite remember. I'll link that playlist up in the eye if you want to check it out. But I mentioned kind of saying how I wanted to deconstruct some palettes, add magnetic pans and kind of make my own colour stories and use my eyeshadow more by pulling out select kind of shadows and creating a new colour story to stop me purchasing so much and things like that. And a couple of you commented saying that you would really like to see that and you'd really like to see all of the palettes that you can depot without destroying. So I thought that sounds like a great little video idea, nice and quick hopefully, and I can just show you all the palettes that you can depot too. I will just give a bit of a disclaimer to this video though. Obviously when I say these are all magnetic, they're all magnetic to the point in my collection. So if you have a specific palette in mind or a specific brand in mind, please just comment down below and go, hey, do you know if such and such are magnetic? You know, Glam Light, for example. I have actually, may I say, the preparation for this video, I went through two full drawers of my eyeshadow palettes, such a first world problem. I got my little magnetic tool, opened up each brand, kind of saw if they were magnetic or not. If they weren't, they went back in. Any different layout as well, because there's some brands in this pile that have some are magnetic palettes and some aren't. So I've tried to do my due diligence by testing as many palettes as I can in my collection, but if you've got any queries about a specific palette or a specific brand, of course I can answer you in the comments and help each other out too. Like if you know the answer to someone's comment, please help each other out too. I will try and give a bit of a disclaimer to any style of palettes if some of them are magnetic and some of them aren't. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get into this. So the first one I want to talk about is Melt. Didn't realise these were magnetic. Didn't realise, had no idea, kind of shocked and very happy about it. I don't own a massive amount of Melt palettes. I own four. I own the Mary Jane, the, what's this called? The Smoke Sessions, the Radioactive and the Amore Mariposas palette. By the way, you do not have to own a fancy tool. It cracks me up so much, like it literally brings such a laughter to my face when I see people's comments like, oh, where'd you get that fancy magnetic tool from? A broken fridge magnet and a metal depotting tool that I got free with some sort of, I don't know what it is. It's a depotting tool. You can buy these on Amazon. They're like £5, maybe you can get them cheaper, go for it. It's just magnetic, and then I've got, I don't want to get the magnet too close to my camera to be honest, but it's just like a magnet that comes off the back of a fridge magnet, and it fell off and I didn't really care for the magnet that much, like the actual thing, so I just stuck it to this. It's just magnetizing. So yeah, that's my fancy tool. Anyway, going back to it, all of the palettes that I have in like my Melt collection are magnetic. So the circular pans were the ones that I tried first, and they don't have the names written on the back of them or anything, they're just plain backing, but there is just a magnetic back to it. Can you see the space there? And yeah, you can just drop it back in. These ones are quite easy to pick up, if I'm honest, like just watch. These ones were quite easy. Some of them, if you trace, like a really good way to find out if your palettes are magnetic are to just literally hover a magnet over the top of them. Try and keep it around the rim though, so it doesn't impact the shadow as much. Try and magnetize the side of it. That's the best way to find out if your pans are depotable by a magnet. Sometimes the pan itself is magnetic, but it's glued into the palette, and we'll get to those sorts of styles in a minute. But yeah, this one is certainly magnetic. All of these are as well. Oh my god, they're falling out. All of these ones are. I use the Smoke Sessions as an example. Even though they're the longer pans, you can still depot them like this. Can you see all the mess in my mirror? It's brilliant. They're still depotable in this little format. I didn't realise that these were magnetic, and actually it's kind of changed my mindset on Melt palettes, because now I know that they're depotable and I can make my own colour stories. I'm kind of more allured to them for some reason. So yeah, if you've got any of these four palettes, these at least are all magnetic and depotable without destroying the palette as such. So if you have a specific palette in mind, like I said, don't destroy your palette, just get a little magnet and you'll be able to see if it's the same. But my guess is, because all of these are very different styles, shapes and sizes of palettes, they all from Melt are probably magnetic, so that's really cool to know. The next brand we have here is Colourpop. Now Colourpop, as you probably know, let me see if I've got all of them, have varying styles of palettes. So I will just let you know that they're large palettes, are all magnetic. All of their large palettes are magnetic. I've just got one up to show you when I mean large palettes. So Stone Cold Fox, Good Mood, whatever it's called, Moving Vibes, I don't know what the blooming called, like the Rose Crush, Rock Candy, I don't know. They're all magnetic, so if you have any of the large Colourpop palettes, not a problem. All you need is a tiny little fridge magnet. They're cool. All of their 12 pans, in the cardboard at least. I don't own any of the 9-pan plastic ones, but all of the 9 and 12 in the cardboard I know are magnetic. And again, these just have like the magnetic back, so it's not a strip. I do believe, please correct me if I'm wrong, that the 9-pan plastic palettes don't have a magnetic back, but they have a magnetic strip. So I do believe that they are magnetic, but please clarify to me if I'm wrong, and I'll make it as a pinned comment if I'm wrong. But yeah, these are also magnetic. The 4-pan or the quads are magnetic as well. So these all magnetic. Okay, again, I think it's probably because it's in the paper packaging that this is actually magnetic, but yeah, the cardboard usually, I mean all of my cardboard ones, I literally sat there going yes, 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 and half of them, half the 12 pans I know are all magnetic, at least because oh god, I don't even know why I started this strenuous task, but I depotted every single one and wrote the name of the shadow on the back, so if I ever wanted to use it I could find its home again. Why I thought I'd do that, I never know. But all the cardboard ones have always been magnetic for me. Like I said, I don't own every single palette, but if you have a specific palette in mind, then either go to that palette with a little magnet and see for yourself, but also just ask me and I'll see if I have it and I can tell you. But obviously I can't speak for every single palette because I don't own every single palette. One I was really surprised by was the plastic ones, because I know that the 9-pan, I'm pretty sure, I'm 99.9% sure that the 9-pans in the plastic format are magnetic, because I'm pretty sure I've seen that metal strip. So unless it's structural, but why would they add that to be structural? I don't know. But these are also bloody magnetic. I didn't realise. See what I mean by metal strip? I don't know if you can see that. It's like it doesn't fill it, but it's like a strip that, can I get another one on here? Like, can you see that there's a strip running on the back of that? Yeah, this is magnetic too. I actually couldn't believe, there you go, actually if I tilt it you can probably see that strip going through there, maybe. I don't know if you can actually. Yeah, you can. I'm pretty sure you can. You can see the metal strip. I am not sure if that is with all of their plastic palettes. The ones that I think aren't magnetic from Colourpop are their new plastic see-through quads. So the ones that have see-through packaging, I'm pretty sure they're not magnetic. I think if you own them, you'll be able to see on the back that you can actually see the pans through it, which means it's glued because you won't be able to like see the magnet otherwise. So I'm pretty sure those aren't magnetic, but yeah, I was really shocked to see that this one was. Again, game changer for me, because now I can depot some of these really cute shades, which is great for me. But yeah, it's, like I said, it's worth trying. I mean, if you have the palette, why not just go test it yourself anyway, if you're actually, you know, wanting to know. If you're wanting to purchase a palette, I think those little acrylic quads are the only ones that aren't magnetic to my knowledge. But yeah, the rest of them are. All of my Colourpop collection anyway is all magnetic. Like I said, I tried every single variant of my palettes, even the collabs, the larger palettes, the smaller palettes, cardboard, plastic, them all, and they're all magnetic, so that's really good to know. Next up we have Adept Cosmetics. I have two palettes from them, the Plain Jane Remastered and the Heather Austin collab palette. All of these shadows are magnetic, so you can take out any of these pans. These so far, I think, yeah, so far, so Colourpop and Melt don't have the names of their shadows on the back. These do. I don't really want to get too close to my camera with a magnet, to be honest, but you might be able to tell that, there you go, it says AC10, is it, or ACI 10. You can actually see the names of the singles on the back of these. These are pretty meaty, and the whole palette is magnetic, so it's not a strip. It's constructed very well. And just to show you that the Heather Austin one is exactly the same, let's just take one out here. It looks exactly the same, and again we have the name of the pan inside it. It's not even printed on, it's like actually engraved in, which is really impressive. So yeah, to my knowledge, all Adept palettes are magnetic. I believe that is kind of like their shtick, because they used to do singles and they do sell large empty magnetic palettes, and they do, like I do see on their stories and like things like that, that they've depotted loads of palettes to make one big one. So I think, I'm 99% sure that all Adept palettes are magnetic. Not sure about the House of L. No, I'm pretty sure that's magnetic too, you know. So yeah, always good to know. And they're labelled, which is fantastic for me. Natasha Denona. Natasha Denona features very heavily in my DIY palette series. Like I said, it's linked up in the eye if you want to go see the playlist. All of Natasha Denona palettes are magnetic apart from their mini 5 pans. So if you see the mini 5 pans, I don't think I own any of them. No, I don't own any of them. So I don't think any of those 5 pans are magnetic. I don't think their face palettes are magnetic either, but every single eyeshadow palette is. So even the ones that are like stitched, you know, like the gold palette, the lila palette, the Metropolis palette, they're all magnetic. Every plastic palette, so the midi size and the large size, so the Trio Chrome, the Circo Loco, the Love, the Bronze, the like the Cool Tone palette, what's called the Glam palette, they're all magnetic. The pans are not labelled on the back, so again, I don't know why I even had the time to do this, but I went on the back and wrote with a Sharpie every single name of the palette. You can actually pop some of the singles out of Natasha Denona palettes, so some Natasha Denona palettes come with these holes in the back that you can get like a little bobby pin or just like anything that can fit, and you can pop them out that way. Personally, I'd rather just use the same tool and use my magnet just to pop them out like that. I find it much easier to just pick the ones I want out instead of going 1, 2, 3, which one do I want, and flipping it backwards and forwards. But yeah, all Natasha Denona palettes apart from the 5 pan minis and the face palette combinations are all magnetic. So if you purchase any of her palettes, like I said, I think I own a majority of them. There's only a few that I don't own simply because they're expensive and I can't afford to collect them all at once. But yeah, if you have any questions and you want to double check if you're looking to invest in one of her palettes and you want to double check if it's magnetic or not, then I'll happily answer you if you want to talk about a specific palette. But in my entire collection, every single palette is magnetic, so that's really great. Going on to Glaminatrix Cosmetics, I only own 2 palettes. I own the Silent Night and the Nocturnal palette. The Silent Night palette is magnetic. It is like, when you can see here, look, I'm touching it and you can hear, but it doesn't quite lift. At first I was going around the entire rim of these eyeshadows and I was like, oh damn it, the pan's magnetic but they're glued in. And I thought, I swear to God they're removable. So then I moved over to the Nocturnal palette and I thought, let's try this one again. It doesn't come out, and I thought, such a shame. However, they do come out, they just need a little bit of persuasion. So maybe it's because my magnet's not strong enough. That is probably the great possibility of this, because it's just a little fridge magnet. It's nothing particularly strong. I was able to wedge my little tool in here. You could probably use like a little hairpin or a safety pin, might be a good way of doing it. And I lifted the pan out. I was thinking to myself, I really hope I haven't just broke my palette. Sorry, I've got my phone not on silent because I'm waiting for a call. But they are magnetic palettes. Yeah, they do need a little bit of persuasion. Like I said, you can get a little bobby pin or maybe a safety pin is probably better, like I said, to persuade these out, but they do magnetize back in. So loaded with that knowledge, I went into the Silent Night and I tried again, but honestly, like, it makes me nervous when I go in on the side of palettes like this with a little tool, because I don't want to crack the pan. So there we go, I have managed to get it out, but they are quite in there, okay? They're quite in there. So they are magnetic, so if you do want to depot them, you can without destroying your palette. I've just done it there. But they're very bloody strong magnets, so if you can't get it out with a normal magnet, don't be surprised, try a little hairpin. So yeah, I don't know if that can be said for all of the Glaminatrix palettes, but it can certainly be said for these ones. I didn't show you the back, but they're not named on the back, so if you wanted to label them, you have to label them yourself. How I labelled mine was, I got a bit of micellar water on the back of a Q-tip, rubbed it down, and then literally got a Sharpie pen, wrote the names of the back of the pans, and then just leave them to dry so they're properly cooled down. You can pop them all back in again. It is a process, okay? It is a process, especially when you've got a lot of eyeshadow. But if you are serious about depotting eyeshadows and making palettes and you want them to go back into the same palettes again, then it's up to you, isn't it, if you want to invest that time. But they're not, these are not labelled on the back like the Adept ones are. Okay, a couple left. We have Shroud palettes. So I have 2 Shroud palettes. You'll be glad to know that this one, the It's Freaking Bats palette, is indeed, ding, magnetic, and it's really easy to take out. I don't know if you saw how easy that was to take out. I'll do it again with a different shade. Ping! out it goes. Really, really happy to see that. It is a proper magnetic palette in the sense of it's not a strip. Oh my god, I'm gonna ruin my eyeshadows. And really easy to get out, easy to drop in, perfect. They are not labelled on the back, so if that bothers you, of course you have to label them yourself. Just to let you know, they're not labelled on the back. I was then thinking, oh my god, how amazing. Went to my Arcana palette, or Arcana palette, and yeah, this one's not magnetic. I don't know if it's just because it's an older palette, but it's got magnetic pans. It's so frustrating. You can hear and you can see they're magnetic pans, but they are stuck in there to the point where I tried to get one of them out and I could hear the glue ripping the cardboard, and I thought, nope, 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 that is not a magnetic palette. So, you know, be aware of that. If you want to destruct your palette very carefully, the pans are magnetic. If you wanted to put them in a magnetic empty pan, you can hear it, but they're stuck in there with glue. So a bit frustrating. Like I said, that just goes to show the difference, that one palette that's maybe a little bit more modern, a little bit more like made in newer, I don't know, like a new run of palette might be magnetic and the older versions might not be. I would assume, absolutely assuming, and remember, assuming makes an arse out of you and me, so I would assume that the Hello Bean palette, which I bloody love and I really want, is also magnetic, but that is just an assumption based on this one. I was very surprised that this one wasn't magnetic as well, because Shroud does have singles, like magnetic singles, so I was a little bit surprised by that, but never mind. Last but not least is Kaleidos. Now, the Escape Pod and Yellowcanikvis Club Nebula is not magnetic, and neither is the Flowerpunk palette. Those are all not magnetic. However, all of the £6 ones are magnetic. So, whoops, as you open them up like this, these are really, really easy to get out. They literally go bink, like that, out they come. Really, really easy. They're not named on the back, just so you know. To my knowledge, it is just these 6 pans which are removable or are magnetic. They're not the easiest to remove. They do require a little bit of persuasion, like that, but you don't have to like jab anything in there to get them out. They will come out, you just gotta try and get it right with your magnet, you know, gotta like hook it in and it'll magnetise to it. But yeah, they're not labelled, which is a little bit frustrating, but is what it is. I don't have the quads, like I said, like the espresso one and the Night of Creation, not espresso, but like they did the cold brew one and Midnight Jasmine, those two quads, and then they've got the Night of Creation quads, which I can't remember the names of, but I'm not sure if those are magnetic. I highly doubt it, because they're set in plastic, and so is the Escape Pod, and that one's not magnetic, so not sure. I highly doubt it, but if they are, please inform the rest of us down below in the comments. Those are all of the palettes that you can get all the singles out without destructing the palette and actually like completely ruining it, you know, that they are magnetic and you can just simply pop them in and out however you please. Obviously this, I haven't talked about single shadows because I think it goes without saying single shadows are usually magnetic because they're single shadows that go in magnetic pans. So Cleona, Shroud singles, Adept, I don't think do any singles anymore, but Colourpop singles are magnetic. Usually, like 9.5 times out of 10, it's usually magnetic unless it is in its own little like pan as such. Like the Urban Decay ones, like the Moondust singles, I don't think are magnetic, but they are set into their own permanent packaging. So yeah, but that is it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope it's been a little bit informative and helpful for you perhaps. Like I said a million times in this video, if you've got a certain palette in mind or brand in mind that you would like me to say yes or no to, you know, like Luna Beauty, Glamlight, Anastasia Beverly Hills, Urban Decay, if you've got any of those brands in mind that you're like, oh, I want to buy a palette but I don't know if it's magnetic and I only want it if it's magnetic, I can see if I've got it in my collection and answer that for you. But like I said, there's nothing stopping you from getting a little fridge magnet or whatever and seeing yourself. You can feel when a pan is magnetic, you can feel the pull of it, I suppose. But yeah, you can feel it, but don't force it if you don't want to break your palette, because you'll be able to hear the ripping noise. So if you try to lift it, I feel like I'm telling you how to suck eggs, but if you lift it and you can hear like it sounds like a paper ripping noise, it is probably glued down, even though it might be a magnetic pan, just like the shroud palette. So do be careful. I don't want to make you break your palettes by accident. That's the last thing I'd like you to do. But yeah, I hope this has been helpful. Thank you guys for watching. Thumbs the video up if you have enjoyed. Subscribe and ring the bell. Ring the bell for all the videos I upload. I've tried to upload as much as I possibly can. So yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for your support. Take care, stay safe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.